Everybody, welcome to the 2011 Astrology Forecast Lecture. I'm so glad you came out tonight. Great to see all your wonderful smiling faces. And I know it's a little inclement weather today, so thanks for coming out. It's great. As you probably know, I'm Spencer John, and we'll be talking about what's about to show up this year. Before I get into the forecast part, I want to address this little media rumors that were floating around recently about the signs changing. Louder, yes. About the signs having changed. And about a new zodiac sign being discovered. So I just want to get this out of the way before we can move on. And here's the story. It's the inside scoop, okay? Every 2 to 5 years, an astronomer or a group of astronomers tries to make a name for themselves by saying, guess what? The zodiac signs have changed. Astrology's all wrong. We've seen this so many times, it's ridiculous. It's like clockwork. So this time, though, there's something called social media. Twitter, Facebook, all this stuff. It took the story and ran with it. And the media, mainstream media, wanted to get involved too, so they took the story and ran with it. Okay? So here's what it's really about. There's something called the precession of the equinoxes. Anyone know what that is? Raise your hand. Okay. The Earth wobbles on its axis, and so because of this wobble, every approximately 2,160 years, the Sun enters a new constellation on the first day of spring. And it does this in a backwards fashion. When Christ was born, the Sun entered the constellation of Pisces. Recently, it's entering the constellation of Aquarius. That's why it's called precession of the equinoxes. It goes backwards. These astronomers are saying, well, that's because astrology is all wrong, because the signs have moved. But they don't seem to understand that Western astrology never used the constellations to locate the zodiac signs. They didn't bother to study astrology. So here's the story of what happens in Western astrology. The Earth and the Sun is the main relationship that we use. It's called the tropical zodiac, and the tropical because it's based on the Sun. The one based on the constellations is called sidereal zodiac, based on the stars. Okay. So in Western astrology, it's very simple how you get your sun sign. At the spring equinox, when the days and nights are equal, the sign of Aries, the first sign, begins. And from that point on, throughout the zodiacal year, is divided into 12 equal segments, one for each zodiac sign. It's as simple as that. Okay? Moment of spring equinox, Aries begins, 12 equal segments, 12 signs. That's never changed. That's the way it's always been. You are the sign that you were born with. I know some of you don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. Now, this year, they goosed up their argument a little bit by saying, but we discovered a new sign.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus. An inelegant name at best. Now, 5,000 years ago, the ancient Babylonians developed Western astrology, and they knew about the constellation Ophiuchus. And Ophiuchus, they didn't use it as a sign because when the sun goes through the sky, through the zodiac, it barely touches this constellation. Barely touches it. So they didn't use it. So that is the so-called newly discovered 5,000-year-old constellation, Ophiuchus. That's the story, folks. And it raises an interesting question. Every 2 to 5 years, these astronomers say, well, the signs have moved. Are they really that ignorant that they don't even know how astrology operates? They don't get a clue after a while? You begin to wonder. It's a little unscientific to not know your topic and comment on something you know nothing about. It's a little strange, Or do they know how astrology operates and they're deliberately misleading the public in order to bash astrology? Don't know. In either case, you don't come across looking really, really good here. They just don't.